I'm here in Joyce Kilmer Memorial Forest on the upper loop, and this goes by some of the largest, oldest trees on the East Coast. They're massive. About 6 feet in diameter at least. Most of these are yellow poplars, but there's sycamore, beech, and oak mixed in also. And the oldest ones are over 100 feet high, 20 feet in circumference, and over 400 years old. And we're getting up to the biggest one soon. It's gonna be great. Wow. These two right here are massive. Really tall also. Wow. This is a very, very big millipede. This is the second one I've seen today, about this size, between 4 and 5 inches long. It's a monster. Pretty awesome. It's 6:30, and I finally made it to Jenkins Meadow. This is a wide, flat area, around 4,600 feet. It used to be cleared by cattle, but when they designated this area as the Joyce Kilmer-Slickrock Wilderness in, I think, 1936, it's been growing up steadily for the last 80 years. But finally the trail is flat. I'm beat, but I'll give a synopsis and intro when I finally get to my campsite in an hour. Finally made it to the top. Holy crap. I am wiped. That was one of the most draining hikes I've done with a loaded backpack. I'm on top of Haoe Bald. This is over 5,200 feet and the site of a former lookout tower, but it's overgrown now and there's no views. So if you go that way, the Haoe Lead Trail goes towards Naked Ground Gap and Stratton Bald. And I'm gonna dive down on the Hangover Lead Trail, which descends 100 feet or so to Saddle Tree Gap. And hopefully there's some good campsites there. Otherwise, I'm kind of screwed because it's already 7:10. Hey everyone, finally finished with today's hike. It is Saturday, August the 19th, and I am doing a 3-day, 2-night backpacking trip in Joyce Kilmer-Slickrock Wilderness of Nantahala National Forest and Sitico Creek Wilderness of Cherokee National Forest. These wildernesses combined are the second largest contiguous wilderness in the southeast, I believe. Second to only Cohutta and Big Frog. And I'm doing a big loop here because it is in the path of the total eclipse on Monday. So I'm kind of doing a loop that's trying to avoid as many campers as possible, but where I'm at tonight, there's 4 other tents set up, but it's not too crowded. I imagine that Monday when the eclipse comes around, the spot I've picked out is going to be hundreds of people. Anyways, today I started in Joyce Kilmer Memorial Forest, which is a short 2-mile double loop through one of the largest and oldest tracts of old-growth forests in the eastern U.S., mainly yellow poplars that are 400 years old, over 7 feet wide, and over 100 feet high. It was very impressive. From there, I took the Naked Ground Connector Trail, which was awful. So many blowdowns and weeds, to the Jenkins Meadow Trail, which climbed up towards Haoe Lead. In this area, leads are the name for ridges in some cases, so it's basically Haoe Ridge. From there, I crossed through Jenkins Meadow and eventually summited Haoe Bald, which is over 5,200 feet. I don't have the exact elevation right now, but it's one of the tallest peaks in the Joyce Kilmer-Slickrock wilderness. It used to be the site of a former lookout tower, but now it's overgrown and there are no views. From there, I dropped into Saddle Tree Gap, and there were no campsites, surprisingly, so I kept going to the Hangover, where I'm at now. And there's about 6 or 7 good campsites, and I picked a really nice grassy area. The Hangover is the high point of Hangover Lead, and I checked it out before I set up my tent. It has really great views, but it was really hazy because it was close to sunset, so tomorrow morning I'm going to get back out there and show you the views. So for now, I'm going to fill up my water bladder because I almost died of dehydration, eat some food, and hang out for a bit, and then go to sleep. So see you guys tomorrow. This is the Hangover at the very tip. Awesome views. I'm going to go out there and show you what it looks like. Good morning, guys. It is Sunday, August the 20th. I think it's around 9:45 a.m. And I've changed my plans for the weekend. I'm not going to hike the 26 to 28 miles I was expecting to do. The reasoning is this eclipse is bringing people from all over, and I've already heard that Naked Ground, which is a really good campsite a couple miles from here, is already crowded, and the spot that I wanted to see the eclipse on, Bald, I know it's going to be pretty packed, and I've already got a really nice campsite here on the Hangover, and this is a really great view. And some of these hikers here who know the area well think that this is going to be a better spot for the eclipse because you can see towards the west very easily. So you can kind of see the shadow approaching. It's not a big area up here, if you can tell, but I don't think many people are going to be up here, maybe about 30. So today I'm going to just do a day hike over to Bald. Probably about 7 miles round trip, come back here and hang out, and then tomorrow just wait for the eclipse. It's basically gonna instead be a long, tough hike. I think I'll only hike about 15 miles total this weekend, so I can just hike the way I did on the way up down to my car, which is over here along the Haoe Lead Trail and the Jenkins Meadow Trail. And instead of doing the really awful Naked Ground Connector Trail, I can just take the Jenkins Meadow Trail all the way to my car. So it should be only about 4.5 miles down. So it'll be a pretty quick out, but I'll get stuck in the solar eclipse traffic. But it was a great spot. So this is the the Hangover, and the peak in front is Haoe Bald, and then Naked Ground is either that gap there or the gap that's kind of hidden, and I believe this peak in the distance is Stratton Bald, and Bald is just a sub peak on the other side of that. And I think that the big peak in the distance there is Huckleberry Knob, which would be the tallest peak in the Unicoi Mountains. I forgot to mention that this area just south of the Great Smokies is the Unicoi mountain range, which is pretty rugged remote range for the southeast, with peaks ranging between 3,000 and 5,500 feet. Everything you're seeing over here is on the Tennessee side. I believe that down there is Slickrock Creek. God, a bug just bit me. Ugh, so many bugs up here if you can't hear them. And then as we get over here, that's the beginning of the Great Smoky Mountains. That's Haoe Bald straight ahead. And the Little Tennessee River, which is dammed in multiple places. That might be Lake Calderwood down there. And it's very sunny in this direction, but the clouds are retreating over Fontana Lake. And then this is Haoe Lead, which I hiked most of the way up. And I parked down there on the other side of that. You can kind of see Lake Santitla. So I kind of parked down there. Later today, when the sun is setting, we should get great visibility. So I'll get some more video up here when the lighting is better. Here's my tent site for the weekend. I am right beside the trail, which is usually discouraged, but there are not really many sites up here to choose from. And this is a really nice grassy pullout, perfect for two-person tent. I've got everything laying out currently. A lot of dew last night. A lot of my stuff that was out got pretty wet. So I'm trying to dry out my hiking clothes before I do a day hike today. But it's nice to have the east-facing sun directly on my tent area. I've got a few new items that I haven't used before on a backpacking trip until now. This is my first time using a bear canister. I got the Bear Vault 450. This is one of the smallest bear canisters you can buy, but for the weight and price, it's a really good deal. And I was able to fit whiskey, some large snacks, and all of my toiletries in this. And it says it's advertised to last for four days of hiking. I think that's probably about right. I also have a new bottle. I always figure, why am I always drinking warm drinks on the trail? So I just went on Amazon and bought a vacuum sealed bottle for $20 by Liquid Savvy. And I'm really enjoying this so far this summer. I've been using it on day hikes, but I never pointed it out. It's just nice to have a cold drink when it's really hot outside. Got a quilt, brand new, from Mass Drop. It's rated 35 degrees and it weighs only 15 ounces. It is pretty incredible. It actually packs down to the size of a softball. Really small and compact. I basically just used it as a blanket last night. Most importantly, I got a new tent. This is the Big Agnes Copper Spur UL2. It's a two-person tent. But, you know, if you look at my pad right there, and if you move it over, there's barely any room for a second person. It would be a really tight squeeze. So I'm pretty glad I got this over the one-person tent. It didn't cost much more. It only weighed about 8 or 9 ounces more than the one-person tent. So I think it's a really good deal and really perfect size for spreading out your gear inside your tent. And it fit in my pack really well. The tent I've used in the past, one person by Alps Mountaineering, actually weighs a pound more than this. So you can see how much weight I've saved going to a two-person Big Agnes. The other cool thing about this, which you can't see, I don't think, is it comes with built-in lights. It's really handy at night, and those lights only add 2 ounces extra to the tent. It's something that Big Agnes started putting on a lot of their tents, and it's a really cool feature. So you can use either 3 AAA batteries, which I'm using now, or use a external battery with a USB cord. That was a pretty cool feature. I'll show you this later because it's covered by all of my gear. So anyways, this is my campsite and some of my new stuff I'm carrying.
Never have seen Marti out here. I guess he caught up with me.
Or maybe she stopped at the top.
I'm kind of figured she hung out with Art.
Yeah.
She don't get to see Art much. She probably went to naked ground though anyway. Who knows? Maybe she started drinking her root beer and hanging out with Art. I think Art, all he wanted to do was sit there and smoke pot today.
That your spot? Not too bad.
It's a good place to wait on the friends.
Yeah.
You must be on a conference call.
Yeah. No, just doing a stupid YouTube video.
That's pretty awesome, man.
True. That's how you tell
But
definite.
I had to look at you for a minute, and you was more concerned because it wasn't really moving.
I was because you weren't, and then you were
I
like,
was off in some briars, so I wanted to pick my path out of them. You know, if you just start struggling, you could get more tied up.
well, so, but that's how you can tell a true backpacker. Because when somebody falls and they get back up and they just brush themselves off, yeah.
Hungry.
Oh, I can see that smoke.
No, certainly not. That comes wrong.
Hey guys, it's about 4:20 in the afternoon, Monday, April the 21st, and I'm still beaming from that eclipse. Photos and videos just don't do it justice, and I attempted to do both, but I failed miserably, so I just stopped messing with my camera and decided to just enjoy it. As I said, I heavily altered my original plans for the weekend, and I just stayed put at my campsite at the Hangover. And this morning, I went out there at 8 a.m. to claim a spot. There were already a few people up there, and me and a couple other groups of campers that I got to know over the weekend, we all sat awkwardly on a rock facing to the west. Some of the previous videos and pictures are from that rock, and I proceeded to sit there for 7 hours today without taking any breaks. And once that eclipse started, the clouds were initially covering it, but as it got closer to totality, man, it just opened up blue skies, and it was incredible. And since we were only a few miles from the central path, we got over 2.5 minutes of total eclipse. It was just amazing. Really hard to describe it, hard to describe the feeling. And there are about 50 or 60 people up at the Hangover, which is a very tiny area. We're all crowded in there. you could just feel everyone was really excited. So I'm already back down at Jenkins Meadow. I've been hiking for about 30 minutes, and almost all of my hike except the original or the initial climb up to Haoe Bald is going to be downhill the rest of the way. So I should be done in about an hour and a half or 2 hours. Got about 4 miles to go. So I'll see you at the bottom. Finally down. That was rough. I went really fast downhill. It took me about an hour and 40 minutes to go down. And on Saturday, it took me about 4.5 hours to go up, to give you an idea of how difficult the trail is. Anyways, I went about 19.2 miles, and over 3 days, it's pretty tough. You know, 19.2 miles over 3 days is pretty easy. But great trip. Eclipse was awesome. Met some great people up top from Tennessee and Florida. Randy, Marti. Hey guys. Randy, Marti, and Art from Tennessee, and Phil, Danny, and I forget the third, from Florida, and then Jarrett from Atlanta. They were good company at night by the campfire, and sitting all day up at the rocks waiting for the eclipse. But yeah, this is a great area. Not a lot of views, tough hiking, but pretty remote wilderness. So hope you enjoyed it. This video is kind of scattershot because I didn't really film it too well and I was tired a lot of the time, so I'll try to put it together so it's cohesive. But I'll see you guys next time on the trail.